Call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Rex! Pam Ray! Naomi! Afastiana! Babbler! Monarch Soul! Jojo! Gray eyes! Fill my eyes! Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shift, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press, put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain, like you came in one shape. You won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft door dim. To the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets. Wednesday breaks parts and apart, sink down the spine. Half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light. Then the art of seduction walks off through the smoke. Silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke books and bards. Wakes dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves. In our coffins selling art, the ache gets a voice. Pain stands up straight and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the dead boogies weigh. When the masses sink but the pulses pray. Echoes in the dark go hunting to the fear. That thing with no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it. Tongue water it down, let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Back company grins like a bruise, dressed smart in rhythm and rhyme. It's a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft door dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift. From a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts. From the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets. Some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing, this ain't feeling for the dead space, no. This is pulse with the pen, this is blood with the net go. This is breath with the backbone, ink with the crown, loud mics like nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom, the line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark, a room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We something more. Late night poets. When the clock slips past polite, we tell the truth. L&P, we love you. Stay frosty.
Hello and welcome to Echoes in the Dark. The darkness in each of us needs an opportunity to be heard, understood, and embraced. So whether it comes in the form of a whisper or a scream, we will carry forth the poetry that expresses the haunting echoes within your soul. I am Pam Ray, and with me is Robbie's Poetry. Robbie and I are poets on a website called All Poetry, with a group of poets called Late Night Poets. Tonight is our dark poetry show, and if you find that is not your cup of tea, please check out our other shows. We have 1 to 2 shows per night on a variety of styles of topics and poetry, something to suit everybody's taste. Also, make sure when you get a chance to check out the poetry anthologies put out by Late Night Poets on Amazon, because when you purchase those, you not only get amazing poetry, you help support these radio shows. And hello, Robbie. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Had a good Canada Day yesterday. It was fun to do some photos with my new camera with the fireworks, so that was nice.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. That does sound like a good day. Does sound good. Nice to get to try out your new camera. And I see Monty hanging out in StreamYard, and a couple people are listening on YouTube. So hello to Monty and hello to our listeners. Good to know people are listening in, and I hope everyone really enjoys the show. We have a huge board tonight, just like the earlier show. I think in this one we have about 25 or so rights on the board, starting out with carryovers from 6-5, which is dark poetry inspired by the artwork of Joseph Wright. And then we will get into dark poetry inspired by the artwork of Leslie Oldacker. Now, if anybody is wondering where my co-host is, my regular co-host Rex, I'm guessing he's getting some much needed rest. I know it's just been hot all over here, the United States, but especially in that southern area where Rex lives. It's hot, it's humid. It does not make for good conditions to stay up late. So, chances are, just getting some much needed rest. So I do hope you feel rested soon there, Rex. And Robbie, thank you for being here.
Oh, you bet. I was just gonna say, with the heat, I have this small apartment, and literally I had my patio door closed for like half an hour, and it was already starting to get too hot. So I have my curtain open and my tower fan rotating, and the patio door is open with the curtain open. So I already have. It's only been like half an hour. I'm like, oh my god, I have to cool down.
Oh my gosh, that's what happens. Like, I would love to be able to close my bedroom door, because like my voice keeps my son awake, because he doesn't, he's like really sensitive about noises and light, like really has to have like the right environment to sleep soundly. Thankfully he's old enough to handle it. It's not like dealing with a small kid, like but the thing is like, especially this time of year, if I close my bedroom, it becomes a sauna.
Oh yeah.
And like and last night I made the mistake of having the air conditioner shut off, thinking that it had cooled down enough. By the time I woke up at 9 in the morning, my apartment was like up to 84 degrees
Oh,
inside. And
yeah.
it
You
was
always
just,
underestimate that. You think, oh, it's gonna be fine.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
It does not, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it does not take long.
Nope.
And I see we have Phil the poet says it's me again. Of course, that was not me doing an impression of Phil's voice because we all know he doesn't sound like that.
Monty G with G.
Yeah, but very good to see him again listening in. All right, that is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, looking forward to hanging out with you and other cool poets, and getting into some awesome dark poetry for sure. And all right, well, let me get another couple tabs open that I need to get open, and then we can get the ball rolling. And I'm glad this is another show that we moved forward. So it's like definitely one I'm really glad to be able to do tonight, because those shows that only happen every other week, I do not like to move them forward unless I absolutely have to, because you know how that goes, Robbie.
Yeah. Some shows, just the format of them or the nature of the
Right.
poems that tend to be written for them. Yeah, it drags it forward too far.
Well, yeah, that, and it's just the fact that if it's an every other week show, you have to wait another 2 weeks, and next thing you know, it's been like, and if it's already
Mhm.
carryovers from 2 weeks before, that means 4 weeks that people have waited. So,
Yeah.
you know, absolutely, absolutely. But all right, let me go grab that first poem, and we we'll get the ball rolling. All right. There we go. We have Where the Water Holds Its Breath by M. Vale. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
Okay. Just get there. Ooh. Mic stand. Where the water holds its breath. Peering out, I see the quiet spaces. The water holds its breath, waiting for escape. Can freedom be that close? Can freedom be so lonely? Icy water seeps through my clothes. The bridge is close, the moon even closer. It shines a path through the water. Shadows hide the thoughts left behind. Moving silently, keeping still. They don't see me here. I stand alone on the bridge. The distance holds me. The edges fold around me. I can't breathe. Reaching out, I try to hold the moon. My thoughts, my freedom. I'm sinking in the water. The forgotten one. End poem.
Great read there, Robbie. And what an amazing write by M. Vale. Really captivating lines. I thought this was a beautiful ekphrastic piece, inspired by the artwork of Joseph Wright, also known as Joseph Wright of Derby. Or Darby was, you know what? I have to check. I don't want to misquote. Derby, Derby. Okay. But yeah, it's a wonderful ekphrastic piece. He describes the scene beautifully. Joseph Wright was known for his paintings of scenes that used exaggerated use of light and darkness, which I thought it lend itself well to dark rights. And wonderful lines throughout. I like how this speaks to me on realization that to um to us the wanting to escape and finding that freedom comes with an awful price. And great lines throughout, but I especially like that second stanza. Wonderful lines and very well done. And your thoughts, Robbie?
Well, what grabbed me right away is I just have to open it again because I had it in the other tab, in the other browser. Yes, reaching out, I try to hold the moon. My thoughts, my freedom. I've really fixated on the moon as a figure, but especially as the moon as something to reach out for and to grasp for, like metaphorically, metaphysically. And I actually had a dream of where I was reaching out for the moon, and I had like this feeling of sort of like metaphysical ecstasy to reach out for it. And it was crazy. And it's like I was able to reach it even though I didn't really touch it. It's kind of a surreal dream that way. And this poem has that sort of a feel of the unconscious, the subconscious, or I would say, yeah, the unconscious more. Like, when I think about like Carl Jung and that, and like thoughts, your unconscious being like under the surface of the water, and like the moon is here, and the moon is very much part of that kind of figure, and it says it shines a path through the water, shadows hide the thoughts left behind. So there's very much a feeling to me here of hidden thoughts and hidden processes, like your mind trying to process uh the things that it's not quite sure of, that it's trying to figure out. So it was a very interesting poem to me for that, and it really appealed to my sensibilities because I'm all about the unconscious, and like I say, I've been reaching out to the moon myself lately. So yeah, it really appealed to me on a couple of levels for that.
Great observations there, Robbie. Thank you. And up next, we have Mahari by Captain Kerr. And he was nice enough to supply us with a SoundCloud. And let me go. First of all, I'm going to turn the volume up a little because I sometimes need to do that. All right, now gotta find that. Here we go.
Uncloaked and stabbed by thunder, deep crags and tangled thickets shed their shadows on the water. The Scottish castle's turret walls, once rife with ancient power, and high within the chambered hall she bears each crusted hour. Her shroud, her fingers drape the sill that overlooks the glen, to count the moonlit brackish thorns that storm around the bend. She listens to her echoes climb, magnifying in her glance. Vare, 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 she shouts, you must not squander this one chance. The prince will be A promise made, a vow served. You will never marry him. Who but I to crave, deserve? The swirls of evenings, hemline fill. Cali approaches, Vari's lips sigh in rapacious splendor. Turn headwinds for your kiss. The daughter of the black quillin, ink black against the sky. On the Somerset of mountains is where Vari caught my eye. A vague surrender, I recall, uncertain of the moment. We two became and loved as one inside a harlot's tent. And the boy my touch enchanted, a whisper of the mist. Can such wrongs be recanted? How shrill my serpent's hiss. From the marrow, the road of thorns, the prince has just arrived. Not the first I will encounter, no, not a one has left alive. Vari, Kali, Vari, Kali, Vari, Kali. She aladu ala ambashi. She aladu ala ambashi. She aladu ala ambashi.
Thank you very much for the SoundCloud, Captain Kerr. Great choice of music to put with your words. And just a reminder, everyone, if you're unable to call in, the next best thing is to make a recording of your poem, because then we get to hear your poetry in your voice or how you would like it to be heard. And Robbie, your thoughts.
It had that. Let me get my mic closer to me here. Yeah, it had a real dramatic flair to it that I enjoyed. That sort of almost Celtic feel. Like it meant it had the Scottish thing in there, and yeah, in the broadest, I guess the broadest cultural context, that almost Gaelic, and it just the scope of it. It had such a scope to it, you know. The prince will be arriving soon. Now arrange yourself in poise. This is totally up my alley. I love stuff that has a large scope like that and has that general cultural context. And I like just the drama of it is something that appeals to me. You know, you really feel an impact of an event coming. From the marrow, the roads of thorns, the prince has just arrived. I like when it says, "Not the first I will encounter, not a one has left alive," and it just makes me think of like kind of like a queen that's like got a den she's like the emotional equivalent of a den of vipers, you know. She just consumes all the men that come to her, and it kind of has that sort of a feel to it overall, with the poem. And it's just it's a wonderful story to hear, and it was the context and like the emotional tone of this story, I think, fit perfectly with the style that it was presented in. And it created a fondness in me because of all the stories that I've read of this sort of cultural context and tone that I've enjoyed so much in my life. Because that's one of like the very specific things that I enjoy art wise.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there. I was just looking up the name Mahari, and apparently, if this is meant to be the Scottish Gaelic version, it's actually pronounced Vari. Um, but it says Vari or Mahari, depending on your pronunciation, is a Scottish Gaelic female name derived from the name Mary, with roots tracing back to the Hebrew name Miriam. And there's debate on what it means. They say the name that it Miriam has been debated meanings including bitter, rebellious, or beloved. I have actually seen it used in the Bible where they say the name or a name similar to that, where they say, "Call me not this name," which means sweet or nice, but call me this name, which means bitter. So I do lean towards more the idea that the name actually originally meant bitter, though I'm no expert on the subject of or even rebellious, than that it means beloved. Like, I feel that the idea that the name means beloved is just that everybody wants their names to have nice meanings. You know, like I got a coffee cup that I've had for years from my sister, and I love it because it's from my sister, but it says that the name Pam means loved one. And it doesn't. It means, like, it's a short form of Pamela, which actually ironically means sweet as honey. And anybody who knows me knows I'm not sweet as honey. So
Well, I'm a rock star because Robert is Old English for star in the sky, and
yeah.
Peter is the rock of the church, which is my middle name. And I didn't even think about it. I just mentioned that to somebody, what the two of them meant. They said, "Oh, you're a rock star." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go with that. I can
I
roll
like
with
that. Rock star. I like that. I like that. But, I have to say, I'm a big fan of when people choose names for a rite and they put thought into it, which I feel like Captain Kerr did for this rite. This is absolutely great storytelling. It is epic. It has strong lines. I like how this is about, it's not the princess that needs to be saved. It's not a weak female character. She is a bad guy, yes. She is pure evil, bringing that destruction, but she, in bringing that destruction, you see her as this very interesting, very strong character. This force to be reckoned with. And I thought there were just really amazing lines throughout. Oh, and look at that. He even says in his AN, he's pronounced Vari. So I apologize for that. Not totally missing that. Geez, I need to pay attention to ANs more often. I try not to read ANs ahead of time, but I do have to start looking for information like that.
I think
So,
with
you
ANs,
know,
it's like
I don't like, my thing is I don't want to read so much of the AN that I don't form my own thoughts.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I don't want to miss out on necessarily key points, if that makes sense.
Well, I see
So,
with the author's notes, if it's I make a quick dash with my eyes down to it at the end of the poem after I read it, and if I see that it's more than like 2 lines, then I start to read it on the air, because if I see that it's like 4 lines, then I think to myself, okay, they have something that they wanted to say with this author's note, and like you said, I don't want to like
yeah,
I think
like if
people are.
the author's notes is pretty much as long as the poem, then
Well, then that starts. Yeah, you gotta hit
that
a
can
middle
be
road
read
there.
after the show. But what did you?
Mhm.
Oh wait, you already commented first on this poem. That's
Yep.
right. That's right. But yes, congratulations to Captain Kerr on a well-deserved gold. All right. And up next, get it posted in YouTube also. We have Its Outline Revealed by Moonlight by Emily T. And it goes like this. I visited in the small hours. Moonlight always guides the way, even on the cloud-shrouded nights or when rain batters incessantly and wind rattles my bedroom window. I lie in my dark room and see it, a tall moon, silvered stone tower, blank windows facing onto a lake. Even if I existed outside my mind, it would, even if it existed outside my mind, it would still earn the name folly. Within it, locked away, is a secret, one I've long strived to uncover. But the bridge is low and narrow and falls short of the far river bank, keeping my goal forever out of reach. Tall trees have sprouted, grown lush and verdant since my first ventures. In my mind, they are another barrier, like the deceptive still lake water, too cold and deep to swim across. So many nights I've searched the bank for a rowing boat or tried to mend the broken bridge. It is my curse to see but never reach the tower, its moonlit secret forever out of reach. End poem. And an amazing dark write by Emily T., who got the bronze in this contest. And Robbie, your thoughts?
I enjoy again, it's had a bit of a feeling of a journey, and perhaps a journey within the self. And it starts it starts out with, I visit in the small hours. Moonlight always guides the way. And I think of like, oh, look at the moon's coming out now, actually. I think of like the walks that people take in the early hours of the morn, or like at late at night, like say 2 a.m. Those times you could say either it's late at night or it's really, really early in the morning. It's kind of, it could be either or. But that's the thing. Like there's those literal walks that people take, but then there's like the metaphysical walks that people take in those early hours. I think of people and how they dream, at like especially like 3 a.m. They talk about 3 a.m. being like the mysterious hour, I think. Uh, and then they lay in the dark room. I lie in my dark room and see it, a tall moon, silvered stone tower. And when I think of towers, I think of like these very monolithic sort of things where it's like something physical could be locked away, but on a metaphysical level, it would be like an idea locked away, or like it's like it's like when somebody has like their heart is locked away from people. It's locked away in, like, it could be locked away in a tower, and I think of that sort of thing. It says even if it existed outside my mind, it would still earn the name folly. So I feel like they're talking about their own thoughts and their own emotional state, and they're kind of riding themselves hard, like calling it folly. And it sounds like they have uh, basically on an emotional level locked themselves away in a tower. Um, and yeah, it talks about it being locked away as secret. And so I really like this whole tower motif. I really like. Um, but then at the end it says, "It is my curse to see but never reach the tower. Its moonlit secret forever out of reach." So this tower is actually not so foreboding in terms of what it's locking away, but it sounds more like a destination of some kind of something that's there, um, that they want to reach. And that's the thing. Towers are like anchors. They can be a very dualistic image. They can be something that protects, or they can be that protects. Yeah, that protects, or something that can hide away, something that makes somebody too defensive. And it's like I always say, it's like anchors, where anchors can either be something that like either weigh you down and and keep you slowed down, or it's like something that keeps you stable. I always find images like that fascinating, that could be either of those things. And I like how the poetry is inspiring me for the moon, because I have this like LED moon that is like a decoration, but it's meant to look like neon. And I turned it on. It's like a outline of a crescent moon. So I thought, if there's a show to be for it to be turned on to for today, it's tonight's show.
Oh yes, at least for the first,
Yeah, for the first bit.
rights,
Yeah.
because yeah, there is a lot of moonlight in the artwork of Joseph Wright.
Hmm.
Yeah, and great comment there, Robbie. Yeah, I really like how Emily really looked at the painting and she saw what was there literally, but she also, to me, saw what was there metaphorically. The idea of that which is just out of reach, feeling as if you're, I don't know, it's almost like there's different thoughts I get. Like, I get the idea of someone who's afraid to go outside. I get the idea that the tower is that sense of hope and dreams that are just out of reach. And the reference to the broken bridge, it is my curse. Like, even though it says broken bridge, which is nice alliteration, um, it's kind of like the idea to me of burning bridges. Like, if once you destroy a bridge and you can no longer cross it, then that part of your life is out of reach. That part of your life is over. And a lot of times that can be for the best, but sometimes we're filled with this huge amount of regret. This is a soul, this is a mind, and a soul that seems unable to reach the light that they truly long for. Um, and I thought there were great lines throughout, but I did especially like those last two stanzas, and especially so many nights I've searched the bank for a rowing boat or tried to mend the broken bridge. It is my curse to see but never reach the tower, its moonlit secret forever out of reach. Wonderful lines, beautifully written, and very well done. All right. And up next, we have The Arithmetic of Hope by Gray0328. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
Okay. Here we go. I have to try to get this on the other. Okay. Uh. Arithmetic of Hope by Gray0328. In the amber glow of each bottle, I whispered prayers into hollow vessels, believing that liquid could transmute itself. 2/5, replacing my heartbeat, a rhythm I mistook for survival's hymn. Every day, a loop I couldn't untangle, the clock mocking, hands circling again. I told myself change was coming tomorrow, but tomorrow was a wordless echo. Insanity wears many faces. Mine was numb. Pour, drink, repeat. Pour, drink, repeat. I thought better came in packaged surrender. That stillness might grow in blurred vision. The vodka laughed. I knew my lie. It knew my lies. It spilled truths I refused to hear, glimmered on countertops, wooed the silence. I said, this time will be different. But wounds don't mummify and spirits burn, and peace isn't forged through forgetting. Somewhere inside, I pressed pause. God, I hoped it wasn't too late. End poem.
great read there, Robbie. And what an amazing write by Gray0328. This is a great direction to take this particular prompt. I gave him the silver in the contest. A wonderful imagery. I really like how he writes about the struggle with alcoholism, the struggle with addiction. This has powerful lines. It's an excellent dark write on trying to numb the wounds, both physical and emotional, that refuse to heal. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I especially like insanity wears many faces. Mine was numb. Pour, drink, repeat. Pour, drink, repeat. I thought better came in packaged surrender. That stillness might grow in blurred vision. Wonderful lines and very well done. And Robbie, your thoughts?
Well, it kind of reminded me of how I knew someone who uh, had drawn or painted a picture, and it had it had two people, like a couple, in the bottle. And anybody who's alcoholic, like who's had the experience of that addiction, recognizes that painting immediately. And I think I've heard of that with a couple other paintings where there's iconography of alcoholism like that, that if you're if you're alcoholic, if you've had that unfortunately in your life, you recognize it right away. You've recognized that, like, it's like a in the visual language of it, it was like a prison of the bottle. And this kind of reminds me of that with the pour, drink, repeat, pour, drink, repeat. um and then, well, he says, I thought better came in package surrender, but stillness might grow in blurred vision. That, yeah, it sounds like it's that it's a bit like that saying, result that doing the same thing and expecting different results. You know how they, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but just generally that idea that it's it's uh it's no good to expect to do something that isn't working, and do it over again and think, oh well, it's going to work out different this time. It kind of reminded me of that. And the way he personified the vodka laughed, it knew my lies. It really makes for a stinging sort of a thing with the alcohol, because with an addiction like that, to personify it that way, it's like the vodka is so insidious that way because it knows your weaknesses, right? It knows your lies. And something like that, it just burrows right into your brain, because it just unhinges all of the strengths that you might have, and it uncovers all your weaknesses, and you feel like you don't stand a chance sometimes, right? And uh, I found that alcoholism in general is something that I've thought about more, and I hate drinking culture more and more, and I really just have grown to have a disdain for alcohol a lot, and bars and that. Like,
All
I just think
right.
of people, yeah, I think of people that have like just even two drinks, and all of a sudden they're saying to me, "What are you looking at?" Oh, I can't stand that. I cannot stand that at all. It's just so unnecessary and so stupid.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But great comment there, Robbie. Really, really great observations, for sure. Um, and I'm looking at something. All right. So, all right. Yeah, this has to be it. All right. Give me just a moment. All right. There we go. All right. So, on to the next right. So let me go grab that. Mhm, mhm. And by the way, great read there too, Robbie. Thank you very much. All right. Up next, we have Last Day of May by Shadow's Night. And it goes like this. The winding road runs ever long. We are the ghosts of lives gone by. A tender requiem, a tender requiem poured into song on tones that tear both low and high. We salmon dancers chase the current wrong in sacred search for the waters we belong, half born to hope, half born to die. The mask of life's midwinter gently drawn, a dusk of silent years softly laid down, the road that all must walk yet tread alone, a garden of thorns, custom grown and sown, handcrafted thrones to each their own. Within jewels of memories, time lies hushed and still. The bright sparks of fire dance on pages long blank, with days that once drank the water of farewell and goodwill, and the nectar of just disenchanted years till they sank to the river of time, pale and shallow bank, where life's last daylight has fallen ill. Beneath the layered skin of you and me lies a ruin where cloud dancers come to play unshackled, free in some spectral degree, hidden among crowds and dulled senses of May, still present with the absentees. End poem. And your thoughts, Robbie?
For some reason, I thought of the word sinking with this. There was the mention of like the ocean and that in the first, or not the ocean, but kind of the water in the first poem, and the moon, and this had a feeling of when you're like sinking down under something like that. Especially towards the end, beneath the layered skin of you and me lies a ruin where cloud dancers come to play. It just it really makes it feel like everything is underneath in some way or another. Whether it's like earth, like if you mentioned earth in this poem, everything would be under the earth, I think. And yeah, it's interesting that everything feels here like it's underneath, and and there's a certain melancholy to it. And when I look at the title, "The Last Day of May," I'm thinking of perhaps a transition to the season, like where you have spring into summer, and the salmon dancers. I'm wondering what that's a reference to, or what that's an image of. I'm sure that's a an image of some sort. Um, Maybe a part of changing of the seasons. Uh, in search of let's see, in sacred search of the waters we belong, half born to hope, half born to die. And it kind of reminds me of the migration, actually, of fish, and you know, them searching out their home instinctually. It kind of reminds me of that in a way. And yeah, there's more melancholy imagery here of the mask of life's midwinter gently drawn, and it just yeah, it has a feeling here of lots of transition, like the midwinter gently drawn. It sounds like it's coming perhaps out of winter to the very, very earliest of spring, or at least it's getting out of the depths of winter, and yeah, and coming towards maybe closer to the close. And yeah, very transitory poem, and very, like I say, like a lot of layers of under the surface sort of a feel to it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I have to agree. Um, I was wondering too about the salmon dancers. I did notice when I went to look up salmon dancers, that there is actually something, and I haven't looked into it, called Salman, Salman dancers. And I'm wondering if autocorrect didn't accidentally change his word choices. Either that, or it is a metaphor for like the idea of people who go against the current. That's what I'm also thinking, is it could be a metaphor for that idea. Although I will say, if there were actual salmon dancers, that's something I imagine being a Native American thing. You know, not that I've ever heard of a Native American dance called a salmon dance, but if there was going to be one, that's kind of the kind of culture I imagine it coming from. But it's and great comment there, Robbie. It is interesting. It is interesting how one little phrase can bring a few different thoughts. But he says in his AN that this was inspired by prompt one, but it was also written for a friend who has been feeling down and lost lately. So, you know, my thoughts and prayers go out to his friend. I hope they are feeling better. I hope they're out of that place of feeling down and lost. I also really hope that he took time to read this poem for them, so that because I think poetry can speak volumes when it's written for people that we care about, especially because there could be stuff in here that we see as a metaphor in different ways, but it's something that there will be thoughts, that things that only him and his friend will truly understand. Like, it's a message between them. I will say that the part about cloud dancers, actually, I don't know if you remember this, but I went back in the 90s and early 2000s, when, before I had kids, but I had quite a few nieces and nephews, there were those toys, that there were these dolls that had wings, and you pulled the string, and they were on this like shooter thing, and they went spun, like, I forget what they were called, but basically they spun and like flew up into the air, like these flying fairy dolls. And that's what the phrase cloud dancers reminds me of. It reminds me of those flying fairy dolls that my nieces just absolutely loved. But no, it's beautiful, and it's heartfelt because it was written for a friend. It has wonderful imagery and metaphors. And I did especially like that it speaks on the idea of a journey taken together through stormy waters and difficult paths. And I'm going to check here real quick because I want to know what a salmon dancer is.
Hey, that's like that too. It's like I get to that point. It's like, I want to know, damn it.
Yeah.
Artistic
Let's see.
OCD.
Well, there is a the closest I can find is there is a Salman Yusuf Khan, who is an Indian dancer, actor, choreographer, and television judge. So maybe that's who they were referencing when they. Well, let's see here. All right. All right. So we have. Oh, I did find. I can't find the salmon dance thing, but I did find that the salmon dance is actually a song by the Chemical Brothers.
Yeah, that's the first one I got.
That must be one of those, that must be one of those like personal notes in the right, something that they share, So
So I was thinking that too, that I was thinking how, and it's a beautiful thing sometimes where um whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship or whatever, you often develop like this unique vocabulary and these internal references, to very specific things. It's even with among the deaf community, the people like families, individual families of deaf people will develop their own signs, individual to their own family. So,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That is so true. So true. Um, all right. Well, up next we have Please Don't Just Disappear Like a Ghost by Tyler Jakeway. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
okay. Okay. I hope I don't need water for this one. I don't know. It looks like it might. Okay. I need to make this clear. Please don't just disappear. I need you in my life. I want you here, but I feel I can't reach you. I miss you, but I can't find you. Please don't become a ghost. I want to feel you, not pass through. I can't bear seeing through if not being with you is true. No, don't disappear. I'm suffocating and dying in here. Don't bring to life my nightmarish fear. I'm wide awake, but can't hear that soothing, familiar register. No one can master that tone, the one that belongs to one alone. Please don't leave me alone. Do not just disappear. I need you here, even if I can't be now. I hate when a tear sneaks out. Every second the sensation lasts reminds me how long love doesn't last. It happens and excuses make it disappear. I rest my case. I don't want you to disappear. Why this fear? Because the evidence, no more smiles ear to ear. Life back to black and white grayscale. My mind sees the vivid detail. It's front of mind all the time, and the ways it could fall away like a landslide. I feel like I'm losing someone who's still alive, in body, soul, and mind. I say I love you, but I feel I'll shove you away. Please, my dear, don't disappear. I trade the world to hold you here again here. My love is burning now. My hope's thread is beginning to unravel and shred. The tensile strength can't hold alone. The ropes haven't been pressure tested for this. Abracadabra, don't disappear. Alakazam, please stay with me here. Hocus pocus. Fuck. I put a spell on me. Expecto Patronum. Rewind the era of us on repeat and burn the remote. And the painful truth. Even magic words can't stop someone from disappearing if they vanish and don't want to be found. End poem.
Great. Oh, goodness. Great read there, Robbie. Sorry. Oh, I really liked this. It had strong emotive lines, but I will say, and I know he didn't mean this as humor, but my dark sense of humor just absolutely got the biggest kick out of Hocus Pocus. Fuck, I put a spell on me. Like, I can totally just imagine like being like, oh, I'm gonna put a spell on you, and like it's like, oh shit, did that wrong. But yeah, there's a real emotional impact to these lines. He says in his AN it was inspired by prompts 1 and 7, which were both ones that had lighthouses in them. So he took this definitely in a metaphorical direction, which works well. And I like how it speaks on the idea of obsession, the idea of wanting to keep somebody with you, the fear of pushing love away, like this speaks to me on the idea of somebody, like when you're afraid, you're afraid that somebody's going to leave you, so perhaps you even start purposely pushing them away because it's the inevitable end. I thought there were some great lines throughout, but I especially like where it says, "Do not just disappear. I need you here, even if it can't be now. I hate when a tear sneaks out. Every second the sensation lasts reminds me how long love doesn't. It happens, and excuses make it disappear." Like this is some. It feels like somebody who's definitely being very vulnerable in the moment. So excellent, right, and very well done by Tyler Jakeway. And your thoughts, Robbie?
Well, I was just saying in chat, this reminding me of someone that unfortunately, because of events in their life in their early childhood, I think they developed borderline personality disorder, and it's so hard to deal with, like both for themselves and for you. Like the number one thing with borderline is fear of abandonment, and if they feel that you're about to abandon them, they it's just, they just flip out over that. um and I remember there's a book with about borderline. It says, "I hate you, don't leave me." And it's like a really blunt book in terms of that title. And it's just that idea that in that condition, uh, I'm just speaking on what I saw, so nobody knock me down, please. But yeah, the yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the book, like the title of that book really said to me how that there's that contradiction where someone can be in a state where they love you, but because of something that's happened in their life that's done something to their like personality, and that it the way they act pushes people away, and they'll say, oh, like they'll say someone might say something one day like, "Oh, I hate you right now," or whatever, and then the next is like, "Oh, please don't leave me." And you're like, what do I do? you know and so it's that kind of dynamic is so hard to deal with, because on both sides people are suffering, right? The one person doesn't want they obviously don't want to be acting in that way, a way that pushes people away. And then on your side, if you're the person receiving it, it's so uncomfortable to be in a position where somebody's acting in a way that pushes you away. But then, the next day they might be they'll be acting like, or saying that that they want you near them, and that. And there's just so much intense, well, it's the repetition of it. Don't disappear, don't disappear, right? And there's so many ways that they qualify that disappearance, like, don't disappear because of this, don't disappear because of that, sort of thing. And so yeah, it reminded me of that a lot. I don't think that this is obviously something like exclusively to borderline, but it did remind me of some of the dynamics of borderline, because of what I've read and what I've experienced myself. Because I had a friend who was a borderline personality, and oh, it was tough. It was tough. I felt so bad for them. So yeah,
Oh
this
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, and then those trauma that happens in early childhood that really does have an
Hmm.
impact on people. And borderline personality disorder, I've known a couple people with that, and it is difficult because I don't think it's one that people fully always understand or want to understand. You know what I mean? And it really is a struggle for people, just like any issues with mental health. But great observations made there. Great connection with the poem. And all right. So going to the next right, we have The Age of Scenic Beacons by Peter Solway. And it goes like this: phallic lighthouses, lone whiskered men, each with a storm looming, steps to climb, lantern, polish and shine, ships of safe passage, carrying artists and canvas, time before steam. Joseph Wright of Derby, for instance. prow, clutching, remembering that stirring scene, gold framed fame to come, academics opening, young acolytes to swoon, master of romantic erections, wanting all his attention, conversation, modern day input, London on the map, horses to faithfully render, dissect, bird and bell jar to suffocate, but scientific master, such a firm lighthouse, not so safe a passage, like now time students, banner chanting abuse of dark art students of the feminine inclination, Joe of Dare, a misogynist animal torturer, white racist, and always right, romantic do gooder, showing off imperial cock, raping Mother Nature. Poor Joseph, swept to the back of history books, basement of Tate, Derby delinquents, spray painting his bronze days of lone romantics, all but gone, gone, e.g., Hertz and Ermine, commissioned skull and slut's bedroom, ecstatic daffodils, and all now redundant. Lions, fresh mayors attacking, not to make finalist selection, rejected Joseph back to Tate basement, this AP poet back to loosely based historical fiction, lighthouses that do not turn, whether signature genuine lighthouse by Joseph Wright of Derby, oil on stretched canvas, date searching, futures apparent appearance on the Antiques Roadshow, Fiona enthusing, such measurements, another forgotten artist dusted off for brief showing, varnish yellowing, time fading, ugly dinosaurs, latest permutations, my poems to Fiona unanswered. Oh, like Byron, to envy an uneducated man, goat fluting, end poem.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, and Robbie, your thoughts.
yes, I just jumped right in there. Yeah,
There you go.
you,
Good.
you
Good.
trained me well. Yeah, this kind of reminded me a bit in some ways of how how like different countries they have the absurd competitions almost. It's like this manifestation of masculine. My Eiffel Tower is bigger than your monument. Oh well, I'm gonna make a bigger monument now because I feel insufficient. You know, don't ask me why I use that voice, but it kind of reminded me of that, and it very much used the lighthouses as these icons, these iconographies of like the bastions of I think of culture and some specific people and how that it's almost like these all these different lighthouses of culture and different people are kind of like it's almost like they're on a sea bumping into each other or like you have all these little islands and they're interacting with these yeah in these sorry lighthouse islands of lighthouses and they're kind of interacting with each other almost it's almost like their light that they shine is interacting with each other. Somehow I got that feeling of that it's almost like there's more than one lighthouse and the lighthouses are all like having this weird pop cultural or cultural interaction and yeah, it gave me a surreal feeling for that of how all of this kind of like integrated and not competed quite with itself, but interacted with itself in terms of yeah how it was presented in the poem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Robbie. Yeah, I thought this had strong visceral imagery and metaphors, intriguing lines. I just absolutely had to use the word phallus in my comment. My written comment was intriguing lines, strong visceral imagery, an excellent write on the darkness that rises its phallus among the eerie light of romanticism. And I still hold to that, but I also see layers in this, right? I feel like there's this bite to it, this irony that speaks on the idea of how the history of art has been filled with a lot of sexism, especially like the idea of how can we put our masculine gender out there? How can we show our power, and but he also does take a bite at himself too, which I think is great when he says this AP poet back to loosely based historical fiction. In other words, I feel like in that one line he says, read into this poem what you want, but I may just be making it up, or
Yeah,
at least part of it. But either way,
self-aware.
it's just
Well, I
this
remember
what's that?
I remember I had sent you actually a video of a Japanese artist, and I felt so bad for her. Like the guys were just being complete dicks to her. They kept ripping off her art, and she was
Oh man,
Japanese.
that sucks.
Yeah,
That
she was
sucks.
Japanese, and she was obsessed with dots, and she had like this, like the because of the way her life was, it was very traditional uh Japanese family, and it was like very restrictive in that, and it just really made her like neurotic, and yeah, it manifested with like the kind of like the obsession with dots and that, and yeah, like like every time she had a show, oh, all of a sudden this male artist would have a show that was based on the same thing, and like she's getting pissed and that, and yeah, it's like
Yep.
the family was extremely like conservative, kind of traditional, like old generation, and so it's like you have to do this, you have to get married at this time, you have to, that sort of thing. So
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. But this is just an excellent write showing that there is an ugliness um within, like, the art can be beautiful, but that doesn't mean the artist always has good intentions or a good spirit. So great, great right by Peter Solway. And all right. So up next we have Funeral for a Flower by Micro. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
okay, Funeral for a Flower. Moonlight came through the bastion embasher, gave a glow of pale blue, like ice from a glacier. Heavenly clouds floating over the cobble pathway. Up the spiral staircase to a candle-lit cathedral. Light danced and flickered like shadows of demons distorting intentions on the cold gray cinders. She measured her beauty like icing of a cake. Time had melted away. History in gold frames hung in the hallway. She twisted like a vine from beginning to end, entwined in thoughts. She couldn't feel the heat stoking inside her, like a furnace consuming all human reasoning. A brittled rose on the bedside table. I pulled the stem out of the container. The petals had fallen on smoked glass, a mirror of darkness, here now at last. Once burgundy velvet, now frail and defeated, thorn prickled fingers, coagulating mixture, the texture of honey withered from existence. I placed all the pieces upon a quilted blanket. Red drops like rain splashed from the cauldron, absorbed into the bone. Every ounce of depth, all life comes down to one last breath. In silence I prayed over color and fragrance, sweet taste of the days, once decorated, but no sun could heat this, no energy could save it. End poem.
Great read there, Robbie. And what a beautiful write by Mike Rowe. That title reminds me of the song Where Have All the Flowers Gone by Peter, Paul, and Mary, which always brings tears to my eyes. I mean, it wasn't necessarily the poem itself made me think of that, but that's what the title made me think of. This has amazing imagery and metaphors, which Mike is always really good at. I like how this speaks on the cold darkness which becomes the destruction of the beautiful flower. And I like how, to me, the single flower represents, just like in the song Where Have All the Flowers Gone, it represents a person. It represents perhaps an innocent person like a child, or it even could be a representation of Mother Nature. Either way, there's this idea of this dark, destructive force that it takes away innocence that was filled with so much hope, and lost that. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I especially like a brittled rose on the bedside table. I pulled the stem out of the container. The petals had fallen on smoked glass, a mirror of darkness here now at last. Wonderful lines and very well done. And Robbie, you did a great read of that. Your thoughts?
Well, let me just pull that back up. I like the concept of funeral for a flower. That's something that could go in a lot of different directions, because flowers are, generally considered beautiful things, and to have a funeral for something beautiful, I think artistically could go in many different directions possibly. um and I'm looking at the end. In silence I prayed over color and fragrances, sweet taste of the days once decorated, but no sun could heal this, no energy could save it. It's a bit, it kind of feels a bit like it's talking about the person's days in general, and how they've lost their vitality. The days have lost their vitality in that. The color is like, it would be like someone saying, "Oh, the color of my days are all gone." It's all just drear and black and white. That kind of gave that feeling to me. And when they place all the pieces on a quilted blanket, uh, well, it's when it says red drops like rain. Red to me is like, well, it's a vital color, but it kind of makes me think of blood almost too. Uh, the rawness of it in that, and that's the thing. Yeah, there is a rawness because it's being absorbed into the bone, every ounce of depth. And I kind of think of, like, in mythology, like how they had Arachne, making the quilt, and is the scene, is the scenario of all the gods being foolish in that. And when I think this, when I think of the quilted blanket in this context, I kind of think of it that way, where it's representative of like a whole scene or a whole scenario in their life. And yeah, overall, this had a very, like, scenic feel to it, in terms of life, in terms of how everything is being represented. Like, you have a spiral staircase. Um, the measure of her beauty is like the icing of a cake. She twisted like a vine. So it's a lot of very unique iconography uh, that's representing life here. It's not. It's very metaphor. It's especially metaphorical language that I am enjoyed in this poem.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Robbie. All right. So that was the last of our carryovers, and now we will be going into the dark poetry inspired by Leslie Oldacker. And while I don't make any promises, I would honestly be very surprised if we saw any moonlight in this poetry. There could be. There could be. Um, but as far as I could tell, the art didn't necessarily lend itself towards writing about moonlight. But you know what? Somebody might bring something up, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." So, all right. Well, we have Puzzle Pieces by Sapphire Rose. Let me get that also into YouTube. And then she has been nice enough to supply us with a recording. So I will go ahead and go grab that and push play. Come on. All right. I don't know why, but my page isn't scrolling down. Okay. You know what, Robbie? I'm going to put up one for you to read because I have to drop and come back. So just go ahead and read it and go into commenting because I got to be able to get my audios back.
Right.
So give me a moment.
Mhm.
All right. We have Late Rain by Sandy G. And go ahead, please.
Okay. Raindrops splash in the alley narrow. Echoes climb brick canyon walls. Beating cadence on my eardrums. Cracked a foot, my window calls. Slender panes mime, fingers tapping. Snaring drum rolls summon hail, vibrating glass framed by sticks. Tattoos rhythms on my skull. The single room's a vacant trap, black on white in shadow cast. Dancing drops in windows light. Pin me feckless to the cot. Perched on spring and porous pad, I pour drinks that fill my glass. Feel the sting of chances had. Echoes recalling choices past. End poem. And so with late rain here, well, late rain kind of makes me feel the idea of almost like when somebody is living their life more later in life, or they're thinking about later in life what could have been. And I see that in the perched, yeah, the last stanza. Um, I pour drinks that fill my glass, feel the sting of chances had, echoes recalling choices past. So that's the sting there of chances that you've missed. And they have the echoes recalling choices past. So, it sounds like a regret of mistakes there. And I know that I've found, especially as I get older, that I find that idea harder and harder to deal with. Perhaps because sometimes some decisions that you make that are you feel have been bad decisions kind of grow their own momentum as you get older. It's like the impact of them grows more and more because it'll impact your marriage, and then it'll impact other things that you want to do, and you're looking back and you just like, oh my god, I wish I could give anything to now I've made that decision. And the slender pains mime fingers tapping uh is an interesting metaphor there, interesting image. It's kind of almost has a sinister feel to me, where I just imagine like a horror movie where these pale,
Oh, just
slender
to let
fingers.
you know, Robbie, I am back.
Okay.
Um, but if you're still commenting, go ahead. I just wanted to let you know.
Oh no, I was pretty much done.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great comment there. Yeah. And when I say to get my audios back, I don't want anyone to think that the audios have disappeared. It's that for some reason tonight, when I'm on the page where the audios are, it's not, I've had a couple times where it got stuck and I couldn't scroll down to the audio I needed.
Well, I
So
noticed my page blinked for a second as well. And so it seems like in general the site is like
yeah,
setting
that
or
happened to me last night too, is there was those kind of glitches.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's very odd, very odd. Um, but great comment there, Robbie. Yeah, what a great dark right by Sandy G. Strong imagery. This has a real sense of loneliness to it, especially a kind of loneliness where you have to face the darkness of your past. Wonderful lines throughout, but I especially like the single room's a vacant trap, black on white and shadows cast, dancing drops in window light, pin me feckless to the cot. Wonderful lines and very well done. It feels in those lines actually like a kind of insanity coming through. But wonderful dark right and very well done. All right. So now we are going to play Puzzle Pieces by Sapphire Rose. And here we go.
Puzzle Pieces by Sapphire Rose. It never crossed my mind how strong a suggestion can be, and how life is just a myriad of puzzle pieces, where past events are strong, painful reminders on a recorded loop, so to speak. Our perceptions shift and bend, and sometimes far beyond the line of sight. But does anyone truly see each other's pain? The secrets that dwell within, or the lies that hide behind perceptive eyes? Beneath facades, oppression and aggression. For wounds bloom in silence. So when you pass many a face, understand that all of us are just scattered pieces of life's ambiguous puzzle. End poem.
Great read and write there, Sapphire Rose. Thank you for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. And Robbie, your thoughts?
Well, this is very interesting philosophically. It reminded me of solipsism, which is the idea of you can only be completely sure of your own existence. And someone was talking about a misunderstanding of hell as other people. I don't know if I believe what they said, but it was an interesting thing that they had put forth anyway. And they were saying that hell isn't other people in the sense of that their company is hell, but that other people are always judging you, and that you all throughout your life you have to endure that other people are making evaluations of you. And I think maybe the idea behind that the existential horror of that perhaps is that, and it's what this poem had touched on, is that they don't truly understand you. And that's kind of where the solipsistic part came for me too, where nobody else can truly understand you, so you have this sort of existential and almost real aloneness in life, because it really is hard to understand unless you get into somebody's brain, literally, where they're coming from, their motivations and such. And
Absolutely.
it kind of produced an existential angst in me for that. And funnily enough, the picture reminded me of they have these videos now on YouTube that people are getting tired of. It's like one atheist versus seven Christians, or one anti-vaxxer versus, and they kind of have, or it could go the reverse way for any of those people. But yeah, they'll have like one of this person versus seven of the other. And it kind of reminded me of that in a funny way. But the painting is really poignant and spooky in a way. Again, it has that existential dread to it. This poem definitely, especially when it's paired with the picture, definitely produces a lot of existential dread in me. Not like absolute horrible dread, but just kind of an uneasiness of, oh yeah, this is what happens in life, and I'm not, and I might not be able to do so much about it. Yeah, just the way she uses the idea of the puzzle really works so well in here with trying to figure out other people and trying to reconcile yourself with the fact that basically you're the only person who can figure that you can figure out.
Absolutely. And yeah, I thought this was a strong dark right. I think this artwork actually lends itself really well to existential darkness, and to the idea of loneliness felt within the crowd. And I think Sapphire Rose did a wonderful job of picking up on that when being inspired by the artwork. Amazing imagery and metaphors, these really strong emotive lines. I like how this feels like trying to figure people out and feeling lost in the process. I especially like the secrets that dwell within, or the lies that hide behind perceptive eyes, beneath facades, oppression and aggression. The idea that people are wearing masks and they're not always who they appear to be. Excellent right, and very well done. So, all right. There we go there. And now to YouTube. And we have Maelstrom Meander by Eric Svensson. And he was also nice enough to supply us with a SoundCloud. So here we go.
Maelstrom meander, insulated, isolated. A foreign boat beats against the current by choice, incognito, upstream, away. Maelstrom meander becomes a river of dreams, unaffected, undetected, for a spell against the current of human mirages. A stranger in a foreign city, Maelstrom meander, becomes a boulevard of peace, surrounded, shrouded. Human mirages shape shift, drift past a foreign boat beating against the current. Maelstrom meander, immune, absolution, confluence of a foreign consciousness, a river of living organisms, strange tongue stranded on a sandbar, maelstrom meander, resolution, restitution, quickening of senses, such freedom, misplaced by choice, unaffected, undetected, maelstrom meander, unrushed, uncrushed, sights and sounds soaked up, an old man river of humans, surrounded, shrouded, maelstrom meander, all angst dissipates, future fears drift away like misty trindles on a foggy day, unaffected, undetected, the heart beats to its own tune, maelstrom meander, opaque, vague, human barcodes on a boulevard of dreams, insulated, isolated, further upstream still, maelstrom meander, certainty of the glazier, undetectable, highly visible, a film strip of unrehearsed precision, no derision, no objection, maelstrom meander, end poem.
Okay. So yeah, I think Pam hung up, so I'll quickly kick in here because there's some echo problems. Uh, with Maelstrom Meander, it's an interesting a refrain to come back to. A maelstrom meander is almost contradictory in a way, because yeah, a maelstrom is so violent, but meander as well as a meander. Meandering is kind of lazily, going about in that. So
Oh,
maelstrom
and just so
meander.
you know, Robbie, I am back. So go ahead and comment, but you don't have to make it a super long comment.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they made it an interesting contradiction, and it felt like yeah, there's a certain sort of physicality to it because of how well it says uncertainty of a glacier, and then with the picture, it almost looks like a inside of like a not an inside of a cave, but sort of a natural bridge, and it gave the physicality of geography and geology somehow, and how it's again the kind of a little bit of an unconscious sort of a feel.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Robbie. And thank you. Yeah, I just accidentally had this second me from the Kindle Fire pop on, and then I accidentally hung up, like dropped the wrong one
Mhm.
off. So, but it didn't take me long to get back. Um, but I like the use of repetition, the imagery and metaphors. I like how he used the spacing in his lines to be in the poem a physical representation of the spacing between people that's in the artwork. And I thought there were these really powerful lines throughout, but I really like immune absolution, confluence of foreign consciousness, a river of living organisms, strange tongues stranded on a sandbar, maelstrom, meander. This feels like the idea of people walking side by side, people who are next to each other, but truly never get to know each other. Just absolutely an amazing dark write by Eric Svensson, and very well done. All right. Oh, I forgot to grab the next poem. Let me go do that. All right. All right. Up next, we have Against the Flow by Shadows Night. And he was also nice enough to supply us with a SoundCloud. So give me just a moment and I'll get over there. Here we go.
Ancient sages softly preach, surrender all your rage and flame. What other gospel do they teach but chains that wear a holy name? Paint the world in a slow, submissive glow, tame your wrath, still the gathering storm. What other poison do old serpents bestow, except how to love your cage and call it home? What good is a fire bereft of burning heat? Would any heart cheer the theft of its peace? Does the world pause for cowards in retreat, or bear its jaws and deem you obsolete? Yes, scavengers with straw sip from your defeat. What is left of hope is curled up in tiny holes when expressions wear an empty, passive gaze. Long years pressed down with their unspoken tolls, peeling the naked self beneath the misty haze. Are you alone? They hiss in your ear, and upon you'll forever remain, sworn to a life of servitude, year after year, on this broken one-way train. Yet monsters born of attrition return, hellhounds fresh out of salvation. Even gentle roses grow a sharper thorn when the universe howls for damnation. We were taught as kids with age comes knowledge and patience, a key to God's kingdom. But so does rigidness, cowardice of wild ranges, and unrealistic need to shrink in protection. Mindset of resistance to all oncoming changes, a materialistic spark akin only to addiction. But we, the monsters born of isolation, saw desolation raining out of season. Chaos is both our start and destination. Frantic rotations with no rhyme nor reason. How far will be to play red treason?
Thank you for that SoundCloud or that recording there. Shadows Night, it is very much appreciated. That music went very well with the poem with his words. This has strong imagery. It's very captivating. A wonderful take on the artwork. I like it. In part, makes me think of Lilith and the idea of her being the mother of monsters and other mythology like that. But it also has this idea, and I love the narrative of it. It also has this idea that we are those in society who don't follow the rules, don't follow the expectations of the so-called do-gooders, the ones who rebel, the ones who go against the grain, and also the idea that a person becomes what you treat them like. If you're going to treat somebody like a monster, if you're going to treat them like they're damned because they're different than you, and they don't walk the same path as you, then they'll be exactly who your expectations, like you're the ones creating the monsters with your treatment of people, with your expectations of people. I thought this had strong lines throughout, but I did especially like, yet monsters born of attritions return, hellhounds fresh out of salvation. Even gentle roses grow a sharper thorn when the universe howls for damnation. And the end lines too. Powerful dark right and very well done. And Robbie, your thoughts?
Well, I definitely appreciate the sentiment of this poem. More and more, I have this sense in my life of overall how we're made to be. It's like an institutional thing. We're made to be powerless, and especially like when it says here, made to love your cage. That's such a powerful statement, and that is what happens. It's like you're brainwashed, or they attempted at least to brainwash you to love the cage that they put you in. And I've always been like like I said in chat, a firebrand myself, and rebelled in some ways that are unconventional, but they were rebellion. And I really appreciate that sentiment. And it's like you were saying like, you you'll be you most of the time you'll turn into what you're treated as, and that's like a karma thing to me. And one thing that grabbed me was monsters born of isolation, some desolation raining out of season, born of isolation. That kind of made me think of COVID. Actually, some things become more pertinent because of recent events, and monsters born of isolation definitely reminds me of COVID. With people on both sides of the aisle in terms of what they felt COVID was about, um, just being monsters to each other. And yeah, the isolation I think is one of the prime things to really mess somebody up. You think of solitary confinement and that sort of thing. And the last thing I'll say on this poem is it reminded me a little bit of just how easily people can become monsters. There's that one experiment with psychology and that where they had a woman sitting in a chair or something, or she was on the street and just said, "Well, you can do anything you want to her, and there won't be any consequences." And they wanted to see how far people would go. And God, they had to. It's just disgusting. To humanity disgusts me sometimes. They had to stop the experiment because of how far people were going. Just see, it's such artifice. You remove one little barrier, just one, and people just completely lose their shit. They just become absolute and complete monsters, and that's something that, as I've seen it more and more in life, it just disappoints me so much. It's just so disappointing how easily and quickly people will turn into the monster, and it shows how much of a monster is dwelling underneath.
Oh, absolutely. Great comment, Robbie. Um, all right. Up next, we have The Beast by Phil the Poet. And let me get that posted in YouTube. And he also was nice enough to supply us with a recording. So here we go.
This is a poem by Phil the Poet called The Beast. The crowd gathered around to hear him speak, eager to hear what he was about to say. Every eye focused on the face of a man, and they hung on his every word. He breathes into the mic, letting it feed back before he fills their minds with promise of lies. Every eye focused on that face of a man as they hang on his every word. He spits out words that they love to hear, captivated by his charm and intelligence. And every eye focuses on the face of a man as they hang on his every word. He has the crowd in the palm of his hand. They worship the ground he walks upon as every eye focuses on the face of the beast, and cry out in unison with arms held high, "Who's like the beast? Who can make war with him? Who can stand against the beast? All hail the beast!" He stands erect and proud, receiving their praise and worship as everyone raises their hands, covered with his branding mark. End poem.
Wonderful read and write there, Phil. Thank you for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. And Robbie, your thoughts?
Well, it was reminding me so much, especially at the end, covered with his branding mark. You hear about like the mark of the beast, that sort of thing, and it says, who can stand against the beast? All hail the beast. And it's just such a scary idea overall in society that we've had for so very long, the beast. And the thing is, the beast is charming. That's part of what makes him dangerous and such. And it's amazing how ingrained it is, that idea, because there's been so many things that have been presented as the mark of the beast, or just the idea of the beast in general. And whatever you believe of that or not, there are people that act beast like. Like they really they're able to get people in the palm of their hand. I just thought of the one most obvious guy now. He's like a word infection. He just gets into every freaking conversation. But anyways, um, yeah, there's those people that have that beast like nature where they have ill intent and they're just able to get people in the palm of their hand by what they say and that. And the thing is what's frightening is, even when they break their word or they act contrary to what they said they were going to do or what they intended to do, the people will still follow them, because they're just held so much under their insidious sway. And so it's a really it makes me think of some of the deeper things about the idea of the beast, as opposed to the most obvious surface level things that we react to when we hear about that term and think about it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So true. So true. Great, right. I mean, great comment there, Robbie. Yeah, this is a strong, dark right, looking at a society that is horrifying. And, there's just so many spiritual and philosophical beliefs that believe in a darkness, believe in evil, which is, I believe in evil. I believe there's good in evil. Not every, sometimes there's people that don't. I mean, there are philosophies that lean towards that idea of there not being either or. But I think for the most part, we see that there are people who put on that face of being something good and pure, something that leads the masses into following them when we shouldn't be following them. Like this does right does speak on the devil, the branding mark of Satan. But it also speaks to me on what our political atmosphere is like in this world, how so many people can be up front, they can be speaking at the podiums, they can be making these empty promises, and it's all for them. It's all for their glory. And Yeah, this is an excellent dark right on those false fronts put up. Um, and I really like he spits out words that they love to hear, captivated by his charm and intelligence, and every eye focuses on the face of a man as they hang on his every word. That is so true. That is so true. Like, people will tell you a wicked person, and the devil himself will tell you exactly what you want to hear. It's oftentimes that the idea that the truth hurts, but it's the good people that will be honest, not honest in a way that hurts you, but necessarily, but honest in a way that they're not telling you what you want to hear because they get something out of it. Wonderful dark right by Phil the Poet, and very well done. Well, I think we are going to have quite a few carryovers. Let me check here. Um, we have, gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Heck, I definitely do not need to run
No, you got the
a
other show too that had that.
well, because they both had a huge amount of rights
Mhm.
um from the being skipped, but So definitely don't need to run another contest. Those 18 rights will be carried over to the next Echoes in the Dark 2 weeks from now. Robbie, thank you so much for co-hosting with me. Greatly appreciated. Rex, I hope you're getting some much needed rest and you're feeling well, or at least feeling better soon. Thank you to Monty for hanging on the board. Thank you to Phil the Poet and to everybody else who is listening in. Thank you to everybody who'll be listening later. We truly appreciate you all. Thank you to everyone who provided rights to the show, for the show. You're all greatly appreciated. Make sure to keep an eye out on the contests and topic boards put up by Late Night Poets, hosts and hostesses, because you're sure to find something to inspire. And do make sure to join Fill My Eyes and Intimidusrex for open poetry tonight or tomorrow night, depending on your time zone. I guess either way it's tonight for open poetry. And I believe she needs some rights. So go ahead and share something on that topic board. And have a good night, everyone. Have a good night, Robbie.
Thank you. Good night.